Gloria, set the scene for us, because there's a real deadlock now, all these hours into this first day of the government shut. Doesn't look like there's any significant movement. I haven't seen any significant movement between the House-led the Republican-led House and the Democratic-led Senate.
Well, you know, Wolf, and you were there with us late last night. There was an offer by the Republicans to start negotiations, and the Democrats said, "Are you kidding me? We've been trying to negotiate with you on the budget for months, and suddenly in the 11th hour now, an hour before the shutdown, you want to negotiate?" So the answer to that is absolutely no. So I think we are where we were days ago, leading up to this. There, as Dana Bash has been reporting, there seems to be some willingness on the part of some more Republicans to kind of get this over with, and they're trying to figure out a way to wave a flag without making it look like they're waving the white flag. But I believe that's what they'd be doing. You
worked on a lot of deals when you were the Speaker, Newt, in the 95, 96 with then President Bill Clinton. How do they make sure that this government shutdown ends and 800,000 people can get back to work?
I don't think they do.
But they got to do it. I mean, they got to do it somehow.
They don't have. That's the whole point.
You want this government shutdown to go on for a long?
I'm not saying I want anything. I'm saying under our Constitution, if this president comes out in a few minutes and makes another partisan hostile attack, he pushes the shutdown further down the road. When Harry Reid says, "No, I won't negotiate," he pushes it further down the road. There's no incentive right now for the House Republicans to do anything. They've already crossed the Rubicon. We're in a shutdown. Why would they give up? Why would they go to this much trouble and then say, "Okay, we'll give you a clean continuing resolution. We surrender. We bow to the president. He's in charge of everything."
But would they be really bowing to the president? I mean, they'd be actually bowing to public opinion, which is 2-1 against this.
It doesn't matter.
They'd be actually. Why doesn't it matter?
This is a great shock to reporters. The election is in November of 2014.
But there was one in 2012.
And the Republicans won the House, and the president won the White House.
But the president won the White House,
so
and the president's health care reform bill had passed.
And now you have a deadlock, because you have a president who won the White House who doesn't want to negotiate. You have House Republicans who have a very tough position, and nobody's talking.
What can he give the Republicans? I mean,
he could give them a lot of things. He could agree to repeal the tax on medical devices, which
separately.
Even his own.
Why does that have to come in this context? That's my question.
Because in this setting, they're now set up psychologically that if he's not prepared to give the House Republicans some victory, I mean, why would that?
Why does he have to give them a victory?
Because that's how the process works between two equal branches. This is not the president and all these little people down here. This is the executive branch and the legislative branch. And the Republican side of the legislative branch is saying, we want to get something out of you. You're not giving us it. They could have given them the repeal on the tax at any time in the last 6 months. They haven't done anything.
But Boehner could bring it up on the House floor, get a vote, and on a clean continuing resolution, and it would pass if he would be willing.
Look, he could also bring up the repeal
to make those Republicans unhappy.
If the president wanted to do a dance, he could agree that if Boehner passed the repeal of the tax on medical devices, that Reid would bring it up in the Senate and pass it, not as part of the continuing resolution.
Separately.
And given that commitment, you might well be able to move a clean continuing resolution. But you'd have to have a real public commitment. Here are the 2 or 3 things, Keystone Pipeline, clear that a majority of the country wants it, clear that given what's happening in the Middle East, it'd be good for us to do it. You could have the same agreement. It doesn't always have to be on the same bill.
So if you were the Speaker of the House right now, what would you do? Not with Bill Clinton, but with Barack Obama as President of the United States. How would you behave on this first day of a government shutdown?
I probably would go down to the World War II memorial and say that it is a total disgrace that the President of the United States is deliberately taking on World War II veterans to cause maximum pain. Some of the stuff this administration is doing is just insultingly cynical.
So you wouldn't go and call up the president and say, "Mr. President, we have to get together. We have to meet. Let's not do so much partisan jabbing at each other. Let's have dinner. Let's spend a few days. Let's resolve this. There's too much at stake now to get into a food fight politically."
Look,
that's what you did with Bill Clinton.
It's very hard to compare the two, because the last call, as I understand it, that Barack Obama had with John Boehner, he opened the call by saying, "I will not negotiate." Now, what are you going to say at part 2? I mean, as Clinton has said publicly on Piers Morgan's show, we were able to compartmentalize. We fought here and we negotiated here, but it wasn't either or. We understood that we had to have enough fighting to have the heat high enough, but we had to have a lot of talking to get a deal.
But isn't this a fight within, and you're familiar with these, isn't this a fight within the Republican Party?
Not much.
And how can well, sure it is. And how can the president help John Boehner resolve? How can he help him resolve the problems within his own caucus?
Well, you had two no votes last night. Only had two Republicans.
Well, one vote last night. They had 12 Republicans who voted against the speaker. But you're right. They need at least 17, 18, 19. If there was a real open vote
but of the 12,
on the House of Representatives.
A number were to the right.
Hold on for a minute. Don't go away.